I'm Pastor Rick, and this is Straight Talk on Scripture. You know, when I was 21, I was living in Israel, and I had gone there to possibly learn the language and become a citizen. You know, being in my 20s, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But before I went to Israel, I had to go to an extensive number of interviews with somebody from Israel that I would meet in Manhattan to determine where I would fit in a kibbutz in Israel. So we fast forward, I'm now in Israel, and my job is I'm working in the kitchen as a waiter, and then, finally I become a dishwasher. Anyhow, my grandfather, who I had written to and told him what I was doing, he got back in touch with the Israeli representatives and said, "Why is my grandson washing dishes?" Well, the person who was representing Israel said to my grandfather, because through the interviews that we had with him, we determined that's all he was good for. Now, you might say, or you might think that would crush me. I'm in my early 20s. I'm impressionable. I haven't seen much of the world, but let me tell you how I felt about it. You see, even back then, I knew my value, and I knew that although, I might not be the most intelligent person in the world and the most able person in the world, I still knew I had value. And so when my grandfather told me what they said, I said, well, that's just their opinion. I don't buy into it. I'm not going to let what that person said define me. And I still feel that way today, 50 something years later. Listen, brothers and sisters, the world will always try and put a label on you. People that don't know you will always try and define you and limit you and just tell you who you are. And you know what? I wasn't a Christian back then, but even then I knew that person was not going to define me. Today I know my worth because the Bible tells me I'm accepted in the beloved. So I have a word out there for any of you listening. If the world has tried to define you and put a label on you that says not good enough, not worth anything, not smart enough, not pretty enough, whatever, don't let that define you. Know your value that God says you have. And what he says is that you're extremely valuable to him. In fact, what he says is if you were the only person alive, Jesus would have still come and died for you. Well, I hope this has given you something to think about. I'm Pastor Rick. Remember, with Jesus, there's always hope, there's always love. God bless you.